Hello. So glad to be with you all. Can you hear me? Yeah. Be with you all again. Oh, I'm so excited. I cannot believe you all that it is already November. Yes, we had the fall back, which I always enjoy. And so we get that extra hour. I hope yours was productive. Mine was, and I was so excited to get it. And it actually reset my whole internal clock. So instead of going to work out in the afternoon, I got up and worked out in the morning. Yes, because it wasn't dark and it wasn't scary, but that's another story. So I went to a health club early this morning, and it was really nice to see sunlight and not be dark because when it's dark, sister girl right here will continue to sleep. So glad to be with you all. This is Nickquolette Barrett, the Get Higher Strategist, here bringing you yet another episode of iRock TV, where I share with you on a weekly basis great tips on how to enhance your career, whether you're looking for a job or you're trying to get a promotion. That's what your girl, the Get Higher Strategist, does for you. So today I am so excited to I'm gonna take this thing off. It's not going well for me. I don't like this. Yeah, take that off. So today and this month, actually, now let's go back. September, it was all about resumes, right? International Update Your Resume Month, right? So then I launched the very first International Update Your LinkedIn Profile Month last month. So it was all about LinkedIn. This month, I'm like, well, I did write a book on the iRock Star method. So why not launch Sharpen Your Interview Skills Month? And that's what I'm doing on today. So I am so excited to be able to start talking to you all about interviewing. And interviewing is, of course, the next step after you use the resume. But what I want you to understand is that when you're interviewing, it's not about big eyes or little U's. It's about how do you build this relationship that you're going to be in for some time, maybe a year, maybe 28 plus years with an actual organization. So you want to make sure it is a good fit. So it's not about just saying, okay, yes, I need a job. And I do understand also that sometimes it is based on need. You need a job, so you're going to get there because you have responsibilities, financial responsibilities. However, if you have the luxury of interviewing a job and researching an actual company pre-interview, is going to serve you better. And even if you do get in that job because you need to take care of your financial responsibilities, you may uncover some things while you're there that doesn't set well with you. So therefore, just stay there until you are able to do some of these things I'm going to talk about on today. I think I got about like 8 tips or something like that. So, but before I get started, I always ask you all to share the broadcast, share the broadcast with your audience so that other people can get on to get this information as well. And I would love for you all to make sure that you subscribe to my channel. You know, I need to update that iRock TV. Guess what, you all? They now gave us at handle. So if you can go to at the Get Hired Strategist, you should be able to pull up my channel. So I'm going to be leveraging that next year. And that's one of the things I'm going to be pushing next year is to get higher strategists. So go out there and subscribe and hit the bell so that you can actually join me here on YouTube on YouTube Live or my other social media platforms, which is LinkedIn and of course Facebook. So I'm so glad to have you all here. So let me go to my quick let me go to my quick intro, and then I will be back. And we're going to talk about some, not necessarily trivia, some history about the interview. And then I will go ahead and get into my tips. So this is always clasping on me. Where is it? I always got to look for this. Why do I always have to look for this, y'all? Where is it? Where's my videos? There it is. I'll be back. And hello, and I am back. So I am going to go ahead and give you all some history. Now, back in the beginning, there was no job searching. I'm going to be reading this, and this comes from Business Insider. And it says India, but it says Business Insider. So the Business Insider.in. So I guess it is India. And they have a whole big thing about when interviews actually started. So I'll copy and paste that in the comments below. But survival was the main goal. So there was no job searching. Jobs revolved around food. So men hunted while women gathered food. That was it. You knew your job, you just did it in order to survive. Then in ancient Egypt, Rome and Greece, craftsmen trained apprentices to carry on their work. So therefore, they just called them apprentices. Just come on, you could be an apprentice and I'll train you. No interview necessary. Around the 17 to 1800s, professions were passed on from generation to generation. So that's where a lot of generational wealth comes from. Because if grandfather had the company, then he would give it to the dad, and then the dad would give it to the son or daughter, and then so on and so on and so on. So a lot of times, a lot of businesses were developed and stay within the actual family. So that's around 17 and 1800s. So then apprenticeships were less like internships and more of a binding contract of servitude. Did y'all know that? I didn't. So job openings were created when tradesmen didn't have any children. They passed on their professions to apprentices. So if but back in the day, I might as well say men because women did not own companies back then. So men, if they didn't have a child, they would just give the company over to an apprentice. They wanted the company to continue on, so they would train someone to take over the business for them. So Benjamin Franklin served as an indentured apprentice in printing to his older brother. So that's what he did. In 1800s, the Industrial Revolution created many low-skilled jobs in factories across American cities. We already know all about that, right? Employment was dependent on performance, with unskilled workers easily being replaced, because if it's a low skill, you don't have to do a lot of training. You could take a worker and basically almost like widgets. You take one out and put another one in, give them a couple of tools, show them the ropes, and then they're off. But it wasn't until in the 1920s, 1921, there's more information in here. Thomas Edison created a written test to evaluate the knowledge of candidates. The test was leaked and published in the New York Times, and thus the first job interview was born by Thomas Edison. He didn't want an apprentice. He wanted to make sure that he was seeking out the proper person to help him in his endeavors. Yeah, that's it. Isn't that cool, y'all? Okay, so let me see who's in my audience. I had to give you all that history real quick. Hi, Nairobi. Thank you so much for being with me. I got my Timothy with me. What's going on, Timothy? And I see, are you on, TJ? Are you also on YouTube? If you are, that is so awesome. Leave a comment. Okay, always leave a comment and make sure that you're sharing. And always, if you are watching the replay, I love it when you all put hashtag replay. Thank you all so much. Okay, that's you, TJ. Good, Timothy. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. But I had to share that history because I did not know that. And my virtual assistant, Ian, brought that up. He said, "Did you know that?" I'm like, "No." So he created a great graphic and put it out there. So people are really liking that graphic. But who knew? So I say all of that to say this. So let's talk about our topic on today. Yay! Okay, good days. All right, that's awesome. Oh, let me go back here and let's see. Take this out, and then I'm gonna go to my first one here. Okay, so our topic today is how to research the right way before your interview. Like I stated before, it's not about big I's or little U's. This is a partnership. You have the right to uncover and investigate the company that you're going to spend a lot of time with before you interview and even before you say yes to the organization, because this is somewhere where you're going to spend a huge part of your day with and a huge part of your life if you're going to stay there for a long time like I am. So you want to make sure it's a good match. Now, the company I worked for before I got to the company I'm with at 28 years, it was not a good match. there were some things that they did that did not feel good in my heart or in my soul. So I could not do that type of job because I just didn't like it. It wasn't ethical, in my opinion. And the tricks of the marketing that they were doing really hurt a lot of businesses and really put them out. Because when you're on the phone trying to talk to your client that you've sold this product to, and they're crying on the phone because there's nothing I can do, but they go out of business. After doing that for a while, I said, no, this is not the job for me. So therefore, I'm so glad to be at my current company because, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and we have been there for years. So they actually the motto, the way that they operate, everything rested well with me, and thus I am there for such a long time. And to give you a little background, the first interview I did with State Farm was for a fire claim representative or homeowners, where you would climb up on roofs and go into burning homes and write estimates and stuff like that. But when they start saying all this stuff I had to pick up, and y'all, back then I was maybe 100 pounds, maybe. And then I'm only 5'1". Well, I keep saying one. They keep telling me I'm not one, but I'm going to say 5'1". And I said, no, I actually turned down the job because I knew I wasn't able to perform like they wanted me to perform, climbing on roofs and writing up estimates. I said no. So I went back to the job that I was doing and said, well, I have to figure out something else to do. But because I interviewed so well, they passed my name on to the auto side of the business. And they called me up and said they liked you in the interview. You did so well that they want to interview. I don't remember if I interviewed or they just offered me a job. Irregardless, I ended up getting the job on the auto side, and that's where I've been. When I say auto side, that means it's all about the automobile accidents. When people are injured, they crash up their cars, they totaled out their cars. That was the side of the company or the business that I worked for, which is operations, because we have our agents who sell the policies, and then we have us in the operations who service the policies. So I was able to do that, and here I am 28 years later, 23 years in leadership. So it was a good fit for me. So I say, oh, place for you to be, that, which is still good because the one of my friends, we graduated from college together. We started working at the company that we didn't necessarily like. She left first and went to the company and got there for about 6 months. Said, you know what, Nickquolette, I think you'll be good at this. You probably need to apply and come over. I said, okay, why not? Because I was not necessarily happy where I was. And then that's what I did. And so the rest is actually history. So making sure that you're doing your due diligence. So the one of the first things that I want you to do is research the competitors. A lot of people don't even think about that, right? So they only want to research the actual company. But wouldn't it be awesome that you knew something about the competitors? So you can go in on your angle when you're interviewing and speak about how you can help them achieve their goals against the competitors, because that gives you a broader business acumen holistically for the actual company, what they offer, their products, their services, and the things that they do. So don't sleep on this. Research their competitors, not just the actual company, but what are their competitors doing? What is the landscape? And that's going to also make you more engaged into the field that you're interested in. Because if you're interviewing, hopefully that is the actual field that you're interested in, right? So if you're marketing, you want to make sure that you're going to do something that's in the field of marketing, different various around marketing. So if this company is all about marketing, what are their competition doing? So you want to be prepared and then be able to speak to that. Do you know that would just kind of blow their minds that you would actually speak about what the competitors doing and how they have an advantage, or what advantage that you can bring to help them overcome that? Oh my goodness, gold. They can already succession see you planning to take you through the organization. So think about the competitors, research the competitors. And then I want you to understand the industry beyond your assumption. Now, I didn't know anything about insurance. All I knew is that you needed it for your car, right? Had no idea. But again, back in my day, you had to fill out an application with a pen. You had to staple your application and physically go and hand it to the HR department or mail it to the HR department. That's back in those days. But what I want you to do is not assume that you know what the organ or the industry is. Do some research beyond your own assumption. Now, I'm going to give you an example of a young lady that was at my church in Chicago. She was graduated from college. And what I told her, I'm like, you know what? You should really apply at the company that I'm working for, because there's great opportunities, great benefits, great way to go through the organization and get promoted. She, you know what she said? She said, well, I don't want to work at a State Farm office on the corner. I'm looking at her like, do you think that's all the State Farm is? And so, and she was like, I want to work for a big company like the IBMs and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, so I didn't say anything. At that time, we're a Fortune multi-billion dollar organization, right? But she only thought it was the agent on the corner. So because she didn't actually inquire, and then she was just so offended, basically, that I asked her, I let her be. So she went to work at one of the big companies and got laid off. And I don't know of a time. Well, of course, I'm still here. We've had changes in the organization, but we are not known for laying people off all the time. And so, therefore, I never say anything else. So don't assume. Do your research and understand. Say, do you know it's just not the corner agency? It's a big engine that's behind those agents on the company, just like your big major franchises like McDonald's. They have a McDonald's corporate in Oak Brook, Illinois. I'm from Chicago, so I used to ride past it all the time. Major organization, not just a place that fries the hamburgers. It's a big engine behind that. So understand the industry beyond your assumption. So don't assume, you know what they say about that. I'm not going to say this on this podcast or live cast, but you know what I mean. Just make sure that you're doing that. And then I want you to match your skill set with the job description to make sure that that's what it is, because sometimes you'll go for an interview just because, again, to get another job, and you're just like, I'm just trying to get out of there. And don't be fooled by the title or anything like that. Make sure you understand the job description actually matches your job skills. Now, your skill set. Now, I'm not saying that you have to match it 100% of the time, because I'd speak against that, because you don't have to check all the boxes. If you check all the boxes for an actual job, then that means you're going to get bored. So therefore, you want a stretch opportunity where you're going to learn and grow, pick up new skills, and go elsewhere. Almost like Monopoly. Every time you move across that those properties, you hopefully collect additional money or different properties. That's the same with your skill set. So understand the job description, think about your skill set, and see, okay, well, is there something additional that I can learn and stretch? And how do I speak to that in the interview so they can see the transferable skills for me in that interview? So that's what I want you to do, okay? Match your skill set with the job description. Don't just go out and interview just because. And again, I keep having a caveat. Is based on if it's based on a need of finances. I understand something. You just got to get a job, but also think about what is going to be your exit strategy so you can get the job. Like I always talking about, landing the job of your dreams and creating a career that rocks. Okay. So that's one thing I want you to make sure that you're doing as well. Here's another tip. Know the company's culture, mission, and values. Yes, because you don't want it to be a misfit. Coming out of college, all I knew, I needed a job. I couldn't stay at mama's house for very long. I needed to be on my own, especially after living on my own for 4.5 years in college. Yes, I was on the 4.5 year plan. So I didn't want to stay with mama for very long. So I had to figure out what I need to do, which most college students do, right? But if you have the luxury of understanding the culture and the mission, the values, you can make a better decision. I just got a job because I had student loans to pay. So therefore, there was my financial responsibility. So I worked for that company for 3 years before leaving. And it did satisfy a need. Me moving out of my mom's place, getting my first apartment on my own, and then being able to start paying on my student loan 6 months later. So it fit a financial need for myself. But if I had known this information to investigate, outside of just going to a general job fair, actually knowing what more about the company, I probably would have did something else. And one of the companies that was actually after me was to work for the FBI, because I was graduating with a Spanish degree and I'm an African American. So they wanted me, but I was so scared and timid. I'm like, I am not going to go talk to them. They were trying to come talk to me. And if I, now that I think about it, I would have been a very good spy, because probably nobody would have thought that it was me. But anyway, I didn't do it, but I went something safe. And then it was like, this is not a good company. I don't like the way that they treat their customers. Their trickery, their marketing is not sound. It's all about bait and switch and trickery and putting people out of business because they were only concerned about increasing their pockets. I didn't like that, y'all. No. Anyway, so let me see what kind of comments. I'm gonna take a break here, see what kind of comments I got. Let's see. All right. Okay, good deal. So that no more comments here. Okay, so let me go back. Okay, so next, let's go here. Okay, public relations. So, how is a company in public relations? You want to make sure that you uncover some things with that. Now, good and not so good. Now, if there's something that's going on that's kind of fishy, you probably will find it in the events and news. And if there's something good, that's great too. And imagine that you know what they're doing, some philanthropy type of work, somewhere where they recently did a build, a Habitat for Humanity. You want to be able to talk about some of those things. And again, separating yourself from the competition because you are more intimately involved with the organization. And hopefully everything you uncover is positive. And then you can speak from the positive perspective. Now, if it's something that you've uncovered, like, oh my gosh, I had no idea this company was involved in this kind of stuff, then that will help you make a better decision. Not to say that you won't go through with the interview, but it'll help you make your decision if you get that offer for the job. Okay. So make sure you're looking at what kind of news media coverage have they had, any articles out there, any kind of events that they've done recently, because a lot of companies try to do philanthropic types of things. So go out there and look at that as well and see if that's something that you can connect to and utilize that information in your interview. It's all about separating yourself from the competition. Okay. So let's talk about this. Here's another one. Research the interviewer or interviewers. And guess where I'm going to tell you to go look for them at? And get so, and if they have their LinkedIn profile written by somebody like me, you're going to have something to some really good content to actually talk to them about and maybe even relate to. Say, for example, you find out that they're from the same city that you grew up in, or they went to the same college that you did. Wouldn't that be great to pick up that information? Or they may have even worked at another organization like you. Wouldn't that even be I was about to say more awesomer? No, better as well. So look at those things and look them up to see what you may have in common and some things that you can get to know them of. Not to say that you would necessarily use it in an interview. It's kind of a way that you could do that, but it's more about getting to know the person. So when you're in that room, you know how to interact, you know what they're like. So if you see my stuff, you're going to see that I am a joyous person. I love to have fun. I like to have smiles, and I'm really a comedian at heart. So therefore, if you're in an interview with me, it's going to be a lot of fun. But then you may have someone who's very stoic and very serious about the business. That's why they really put me with other people like that, because I help break the ice because I do have some people who are very stoic. So therefore, you want to know their personality as well. So LinkedIn is going to be a great way to do that. Yeah, you could look at social media like on Facebook or something like that, but to me, that's too snoopy. But I would say LinkedIn because it is a professional platform. So hopefully there'd be some information out there about them on LinkedIn. So research the interviewer and the interviewer so you have a better idea who you're going to be sitting in the front of. Okay. I want you to make sure that you're doing that. Then check out the company reviews from employees. Now, I'm going to say that with a grain of salt because you do have some people who are pretty salty for getting fired for some reason or another. So you want to make sure that you're weeding through, just like on the Yelp when they're having different reviews and stuff like that. Now, if I see a restaurant that has a 3.5 stars, I'm going to find out why. And if it's something very silly, but not necessarily because of the food or the quality and stuff, I may give them a chance. But if it's just silliness, they were 5 minutes late with my order, so I'm gonna give them a 1 star. That's just, come on now. No. Come on, no. So I'm not going to just take that. I'm going to actually read the review. So go out on Glassdoor, and I believe salary.com also has reviews, but I know for sure Glassdoor.com has reviews on those organizations. So you want to kind of read through and see what's going on. You do have positive comments on there and not so positive comments. So read and take it for what it's worth. And if you're like me, I'm just going to read that. And if I know I got an interview and I'm looking at these people, and if I'm going to see if they're on LinkedIn, and I'm going to set up a 15-minute virtual coffee chat with them to find out. And to me, that's the best way. If they're at the company or they recently left the company, you can actually get all the information. Then you can really decipher if this person is just disgruntled or mad about something, because I tell people all the time, if I have to let you go, you basically are letting yourself go, and I learned that from a shout out to one of my clients who taught me that. You're firing yourself because if I've asked you to do everything and you're still not doing it. So therefore, reviews from the actual employees and take it for what it is. Is it something for real? Is it something that you probably need to be cognizant of? And does it make you feel uncomfortable? Or maybe it's comfortable. Say, you know what? This is good. This gives me a different insight on the actual organization, and it can lend itself to the company values as well, because sometimes that'll be talked about as well. So check out the company reviews, just like the Yelp reviews, and make sure you yourself into. Again, there's no big I's and little U's. I want you to land the job of your dreams and create a career that rocks. Okay. So, next thing, research their social media. Yep. Find out what they're doing. And a lot of times they will probably post some of the events that they're doing too, because most companies have their own social media presence. Heck, I even have one on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. I have my own social media presence as a company as well. So therefore, you want to see if they have a social media presence to find out what's going on. Look at the comments and doing different things like that to see what they're about. What are they posting? What are they most interested in? And maybe it aligns with what you're interested in. So when you're going into that interview, you can speak to it. Okay. That's about doing your due diligence and not just winging it and just showing up for an interview. No, that is not the goal. Okay. You want to make sure that you're prepared because, again, you don't want to waste your time and your energy, and certainly not the people that you're going to be interviewing. Everything that you need, best decision based on the information that you have uncovered. You don't want to walk into a situation blindsided and then learn the company when you're in there, because no one wants to go back out to find another job. It's hard to look for a job. It's not easy. You have to get everything ready. You have to go through the interview process again. So therefore, if you're going to put that much time in with your resume, putting out your resume, getting an actual interview, it will be best for you to take the time to research, do all of these things I just talked to you about before you get into that interview. And guess what? You may find that you may call them up, say, you know what? I declined the interview, because you may uncover some stuff that you like, this is not kosher. And I've even had a client had a job, and then all of a sudden these things start happening within that organization and start undercutting and not doing the right thing and telling a whole bunch of tales, but it's not the truth. And then 9 months later, the client is looking for another job because they had to cut the person. So we don't want that. So know the financial health, know what they're doing as much as you possibly can. Is it going to be perfect? No, but you will feel better that at least you've done everything you can to uncover the stuff and make a sound decision. If you this happens to you and you didn't do the research and you didn't do it, then it's like, man, I gotta, why didn't I do that? But I bet you one thing, it will teach you the next time to make sure. Now you have really good, great reputations, and that's good. You want to just still research for your own benefit. So make sure that you're doing that. And I think that is the end. Oh, you know what? I missed number 7. Here's my number 7 down here. Okay. No, that's not supposed to go up there. Anyway, see that? Know the financial health. It's not supposed to be a ticker. Okay. Know the financial health of the organization. I was just speaking about that. You don't want to get into an organization that's almost bankrupt, because although they maybe offer you a great salary, are they going to be able to maintain that? So you want to make sure that they have a very good, solid financial standing, and that also helps you understand their financial standing, so you can know what your financial standing will be as well. If they're struggling from year to year, guess what that may mean? You may only get 1% raise or no raise. Some companies haven't given out raises before. So therefore, you want to know that they're in a good position. So as their financial health gets better, yours do too. So make sure you're doing that. And that also increases your business so you understand. I talk about this all the time. You are your own CEO of your career. You have a PR department, you have a marketing department, you have a HR department, and you have your financial department. This is huge. That's how you take care of your own personal responsibilities. And if you have a family, how you take care of your family. So you want to make sure that they're in good standing. Okay. So that's another thing. Okay, what else do I have? I think that's all that I have for you all on today. But as always, if you have questions, let me know. Any questions out there? Okay, thank you, TJ. Good rest to you as well. See you next time. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you. Okay, and TJ saw me on a oh gosh, I'm thinking I'm April. April had a big major career conference, and I did a recording with her, and then he connected with me from that recording. So I'm so glad to see TJ all the time. And then of course, always my girl, Miss Nairobi. Anybody got any questions out there before I end? Again, this is International Sharpen Your Interview Skills Month. I'm teaching you all about how to interview your best. And next week, let me see, we are talking about, we'll wait for a minute. Let me see. All right. So next week is our topic. What is my topic for next week? So bear with me real quick. I think, oh, you had me at hello. Yes. We're going to talk about the opening statement of the actual interview. Now I've given you all the information today on 8 steps or 8 tips that you can do pre-interview to make sure you really want to go through with this interview, and also to help you in the interview by giving them additional information that probably no one will come with, that you can, especially the first tip, the competitors. Okay. So I want to make sure that you're doing that. So next week, again, it is going to be all about you had me at hello, the opening statement, and how powerful an opening statement can be in an actual interview. Because if you can open it up and slay the room as soon as you open up your mouth, you got them the rest of the interview. So we're going to talk about that. So please join me on next week, same time, same bat channel. I always say that. I'll be dating myself, right? So make sure that you're doing that. Let me see who else I got here. Oh yeah, Miss Nairobi, you should have got all the stuff. Did you upload everything for your updated stuff? If not, no rush. But the fact I did send you the email, so we gonna rock you out, Miss Nairobi. New job coming, so I can't wait to work with you again. Thank you for being a repeat customer. I appreciate you. All right. So again, next week, join me the same time. Until then, do all that you can so that you can hear the words, "You're hired." Bye.